By now I trust that most of you are aware of the MineRP double bow tie, which in short I suppose is a summary of our business strategy and our approach to mining on a page. And today we're going to talk a little bit about how we can leverage the MineRP black box, which is the part of the double bow tie protected by our patents and by our IP, and how we can maximize value of that. And the unique construct we've put together to do that is patterns of use. Now, patterns aren't unique. Patterns are well understood and well leveraged in the software engineering industry overall. And roughly is just referred to as a pragmatic construct that had some value in one context and might have some value in another context. So it's always important to understand that there's more than one way in which we can access things and use it, but typically they crystallize in a number of patterns. So from a MineRP context, we have this fundamental belief that every piece of data needed to manage mining operations is already being created, and we've spoken at length about that in other topics. So what we believe is that origination of data exists already, and therefore any piece of data that exists or is needed already exists and just needs to be amalgamated and related to other data so that it can be used. So the first pattern of use for us is an origination pattern. And origination speaks about all the data that needs to be created and the management of that data through its life cycle. So through the MineRP approach to amalgamate data, we make it possible for disciplines to work together. We can orchestrate behavior between them, and they can work off a common set of data, which is important given the nature of the fact that these systems typically are fragmented, they're file-based, and typically these disciplines don't work together. So we can create one version of the truth of all data that was ever originated. MineRP talks about aboriginal data when we talk about origination, which just means the first instance that data was created in is the aboriginal data. And we talk about amalgamation of data because we don't want to integrate data. The integration of data destroys data. Amalgamation allows you to recreate the original data format in the original form that it existed for that particular discipline. When we then we move beyond origination, we talk about attribution of data. When all data has been created, it's been amalgamated, it's related to a single point in space, we attribute the data by enriching it. And we can enrich it in a number of ways. We can enrich it by systemic intervention, so you can have a system with business rules that can add value to that data. You can enrich it manually by someone sitting in front of an Aboriginal system and editing it, changing it, making or adding data to it, or we can change it through forms. And forms for us is a ABAP equivalent like SAP would use to enrich systems by adding business rules and adding the capability to add to existing data in a controlled fashion. You can still do quality controls on the data as its input. You can verify it. You can make sure that it adheres to all the business rules that you had in mind. But in a structured way, you can add additional data elements to data. And that pattern we refer to as the attribution of data. We do all this because the data needs to be consumed. And therefore, we have a consumption pattern. And the idea about a consumption pattern is, in a planned, structured way, make it possible for you to use the data that was created. When data sat in a multitude of heterogeneous systems that weren't integrated, you never had the big data for mining. The fact that we brought it all together means you can consume the data. And you can consume the data in a number of ways. The one way in which you want to consume the data is to analyze it and to optimize your mining business. That is one pattern of use for consumption. We also see another material pattern for use and consumption, the integration into the enterprise-wide information management challenges that mines have. Typically, mines had technical system data separated from support system data. So you couldn't look at one perspective of the data from a financial perspective and a mining perspective, or from a people perspective and a mining perspective. The ability to create a consumption pattern for support systems allows you to integrate the mining technical data with your support data. And it's important to realize that that integration needs to happen at quite a fundamental level to make sure that the processes you follow in mining and the processes you follow in your support systems are aligned. And for that, we use the construct of work breakdown structures, which we'll talk to more in one of our other videos that you can look at. So consumption of data for us is a bidirectional activity. So when you integrate your mine technical system data to ensure interoperation with your other information domains in mining, which includes your support systems, safety, health, environment systems, mining operations management systems, that could lead to the bidirectional flow of data. So consumption isn't a single direction, it's a bidirectional interaction between MTS and other information domains. Important to realize that if that integration happens at the right level, now for the first time can we start looking at integrated information that makes sense across these different information domains. And therefore the consumption pattern is important, because if we just create the data, the benefit we're getting is limited to the mine technical system users. If we can integrate that data and interoperate between all the information domains, we can make information available for the broader organization, but we can also start to meet the information needs of the higher level management of the mine. And therefore, consumption, critical pattern for us. The last pattern we use is an orchestration pattern. And orchestration really just talks about driving the dynamic behavior of the system, that making sure that people interact with each other at the right levels at the right time. And orchestration is quite an involved pattern. It talks firstly about your preference, which technology did I want to use to access which service at which time, and therefore the interaction with the user interface is a critical part of the orchestration engine. But orchestration also drives the behavior between different system components and different people in the different systems. And from a MineRP perspective, we've embedded a workflow solution in our product set that allows us to do orchestration in the MTS domain. There's a huge value proposition in process automation and workflow for mining to drive high levels of efficiency and effectiveness through process automation and workflow. It's a bit broader utilization of the orchestration pattern than the context I'm referring to here, but definitely also a topic that you would want to look at the video that we've made on that, just to understand the further capability maturity journey benefits that you can get from orchestration. But orchestration is the capability that therefore allows us to drive the behavior of the system. And for us to be able to encapsulate everything that we do in MTS, we use open standards for all these patterns.